You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald, a Q&Review recording service podcast, brought to you by our team of volunteers currently recording from their homes across Scotland. Whether you're listening via the BWBF online players, the telephone app, or our brand new Alexa skill, please phone us on 0141 772 3976 to feedback on what you want us to provide and improve upon. Please also join your family and friends in being our audio ambassadors and share our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram all at Q&Review. That's at symbol CUEANDREVIEW.
This week's Kirkintilloch and Bishopbriggs Herald had published on Wednesday, May the 25th, 2022. East Dunbartonshire Council under new leadership. Council in SNP hands. Report by Neil McGrory. The most senior positions at East Dunbartonshire Council have been filled after the SNP formed a minority administration. The May the 5th vote saw the SNP returned as the largest party with 8 councillors, while the Lib Dems have 6, Labour have 4, the Conservatives have 3, and there is 1 independent. Bishopbriggs South councillor Gordon Lowe was named leader of the council, with Lindsay and Kirkintilloch South councillor Gillian Renwick appointed provost. Bearsden North councillor Callum Smith is the new deputy leader of the council, while Labour's Bishopbriggs North and Campsie councillor Clint McDermott is the new deputy provost. Provost Renwick, who, as her first official duty, took over chairing the meeting, acknowledged the work of her predecessors, late Bishopbriggs South councillor Alan Brown, who died suddenly in December, and Gary Hughes, who was watching from the public gallery having failed to be re-elected in Bishopbriggs North and Campsie, before pointing out that she was the first person from Kirkintilloch to hold the office of provost. She pledged to continue the good work of her fellow provosts and thanked everyone for their ongoing efforts to serve the people of East Dunbartonshire, especially throughout the pandemic. Councillor Lowe said that it was a great honour and responsibility to accept leadership of East Dunbartonshire Council. He highlighted the contributions of individuals and groups across the authority area during the last couple of years, battling the pandemic, and committed to delivering on all of the council's key objectives. He added that although councillors often disagreed, all of them believed in doing the right thing for their constituents. The Conservative group showed anger during proceedings, accusing the SNP of having entered a coalition with the Labour group. Bishopbriggs North and Campsie councillor Billy Hendry repeatedly demanded to know the details of the deal struck between parties. Committee membership and delegation to various external organisations was also agreed during the meeting, as this was a calendar of committee meetings. And that was a report by Neil McGrory. This week in history. May the 25th, 1986, Bob Geldof's Race Against Time had 30 million people worldwide running for sport aid to raise money for the starving in Africa. On this day last year, a new study, which scientists suggest might pave the way for more treatments for COVID-19 variants and fresh coronaviruses, was published. May the 26th, 1969, John Lennon and Yoko Ono began a bed-in for world peace in a Montreal hotel. May 27th, 1941, the German battleship Bismarck was sunk. On this day last year, the highly awaited Friends The Reunion aired, featuring the original cast and cameos from David Beckham, Lady Gaga and Malala Yousafzai. May the 28th, 1934, the first Glenburn Festival of Opera opened. On this day last year, a single-dose COVID vaccine was approved for use in the UK. May 29, 1982, Pope John Paul II became the first Pope in 450 years to step onto the British soil, and the first to pray side by side with the Archbishop of Canterbury in Canterbury Cathedral. May the 30th, 1959, the first full-size experimental hovercraft, built by Saunders Roe, was launched at Cowes in the Isle of Wight. On this day last year, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced he'd married Carrie Simmons in a secretly planned wedding at Westminster Cathedral the day before. Chair of Meetings. East Dunbartonshire Council has appointed the conveners and vice-conveners of all of its committees. The Service Committee and Planning Board appointments were as follows. Place, Neighbourhood, Corporate and Assets Committee. Convener, Councillor Paul Ferretti. Vice-Convener, Councillor Pamela Marshall. Education Committee. Convener, Councillor Linda Williamson. Vice-Convener, Councillor Ian Gallagher. Audit and Risk Management Committee. Convener, Councillor Vaughan Moody. Vice-Convener, Councillor Susan Murray. Policy and Resources Committee. Convener, Councillor Gordon Lowe. Vice-Convener, Councillor Callum Smith. Planning Board. Convener, Councillor Callum McNally. Vice-Convener, Councillor Jim Gibbons.
Delighted to be in the hot seat. The new leader and provost of East Dunbartonshire Council have spoken of their delight following their appointments at last week's first meeting of the council since the election. Following the meeting, council leader Councillor Gordon Lowe said, "It is an honour to take on the responsibility of being leader of the council. I do not underestimate the challenge ahead for local government as we emerge from the pandemic with both the cost of living crisis and the climate challenge clear priorities to address. Local government in general and our workforce in particular have been fundamental to the COVID-19 response over the past 2 unprecedented years. As we move forward, our approach will be founded on the principles of trust, respect and openness, with policies embedded in the priorities of our local outcome improvement plan and with community engagement informing decision making." Provost Gillian Rennick added, "It is both an honour and a privilege to be elected as the Provost for East Dunbartonshire. I believe that I am the first, but I am quite sure not the last, councillor from Kirkintilloch to take up this role. I am incredibly proud to take on the duties of being Provost and will carry these out to the very best of my ability. I will also do my utmost to ensure that our council meetings are run fairly and well, and I trust that we will all respect each other with the proceedings at our meetings throughout this council term." Green flag for Balmooldy Primary School. Environmental charity Keep Scotland Beautiful has awarded Balmooldy Primary in Bishopbriggs with an Eco Schools green flag. The international award recognises nurseries and schools which have demonstrated a commitment to the Eco Schools Scotland programme and over 2 years have engaged their whole school community in local climate action. Balmooldy Primary's Green Flag Award recognises their fantastic litter busting and climate action activities. Catherine G., Deputy Chief Executive of Keep Scotland Beautiful, said, "I'd like to congratulate the Eco community, pupils and staff at Balmooldy Primary, who have stepped up to play their part in combating climate change to achieve their Green Flag Award. It's great to hear about the progress schools have made towards their green flags up and down the country. Pupils and staff are working hard, growing, litter picking and learning. Thousands have also engaged with our live lessons recently, and the next On Water is coming up from June the 6th to the 10th. Keep Scotland Beautiful is committed to supporting all our children, young people and educators through our Climate Action Schools activities to develop the capacity, skills and attributes required to protect our planet and work towards our goal of a net zero future. To complete the Green Flag journey, each school is given the choice of 10 topics to engage with, from climate action to food and the environment to litter to energy."
Firearms Amnesty. Police have launched a firearms amnesty that can see the items handed over without their owners being prosecuted. Anyone who opts to hand over an unwanted or illegal firearm can do so without giving their name. Kirkintilloch Police Office is dealing with the hand-ins from this area. The campaign, which has been run by Police Scotland Firearms Licensing Unit, will run until Sunday, May the 29th. Assistant Chief Constable Alan Spears said, "The purpose of the Firearms Surrender campaign is to remove firearms from the criminal availability and therefore reduce the risk of harm to the public and our communities." Cabinet Secretary for Justice Keith Brown said, "By removing unwanted weapons, this important campaign will help keep our communities safe and prevent firearms from falling into the wrong hands."
Ruby remains young at heart. A party was held at the Fraser of Allender Centre in Milngavie earlier this month to celebrate the 100th birthday of Ruby Younger. Ruby was born in Springburn on May 8, 1922, and later served in the armed forces during World War II. Firstly, she worked with the maintenance personnel at the many training camps along the west coast of Scotland, and then in Ceylon working as a cipherist for the Southeast Asia Command. After the war, Ruby became a primary school teacher in Glasgow, retiring 35 years ago, and finally settled in Milngavie 17 years ago. She remains active, attending craft classes and practicing Reiki, and is a fantastic artist also.
For their sake, stop! Report by Claire Grant. There are approximately 3,000 reasons to think again. That is the message from MP Stuart MacDonald, who has written to a cabinet minister over a controversial decision which sees automatic reductions made from universal credit payments. Stuart MacDonald, MP for Cumbernauld, Kilsyth and Kirkintilloch East, has written to the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, Therese Coffey MP, in the hope that deductions can be reduced. And that's because around 3,000 families in his constituency are facing critical financial pressure day to day as a consequence of the deductions, according to figures which were recently published by the Child Poverty Action Group. Those affected were already contending with the cost of living crisis when the Office of National Statistics also announced that inflation had hit a 40-year high of 9%. And the Scottish National Party man wants to see the matter addressed immediately. Mr MacDonald said, "It is entirely unacceptable that the UK government is making it harder for families by deducting from their universal credit payments instead of supporting them. We can't wait to take action on this. It's affecting families now, and they need support now. The government is just far too hesitant in providing support and is now actively deducting from 3,000 local households. The UK government should take action now and stop the automatic universal credit deductions that are hitting families hard." A government spokesperson said, "We carefully balance our support for claimants with our duty to protect taxpayers' money, so we have further reduced the cap on universal credit deductions and paused the Fuel Direct scheme that allows energy bill payments to be taken directly from benefits. Safeguards are in place to ensure deductions are manageable, and customers can contact DWP to discuss their repayments if they are experiencing hardship. We recognise the pressures on the cost of living, and we are doing what we can to help, including spending £22 billion across the next financial year to support people, and for the hardest hit in our Household Support Fund, it's there to help with essentials." Report by Claire Grant.
In memory of their son, Kirkintilloch couple George and Dorothy Crooks held another successful fundraiser for the brain tumour charity in memory of their son David. David was a fit young man when his brain tumour was discovered after he suffered a seizure in June 2008 at the age of 26. Sadly, despite surgery and treatment, the Kirkintilloch Bowling Club member passed away on January 27, 2009 at Marie Curie Hospice. To date, the David Philip Crooks Fund has raised more than £55,000 for the charity, and the couple are now aiming to reach £70,000. Family and friends enjoyed a delicious lunch of soup and home baking at the event in St David's Church, which raised £1,000. George and Dorothy were joined by East Dunbartonshire MP Amy Callaghan, who opened the event, along with Strathkelvin Bearsden MSP Rona Mackay and the newly elected Kirkintilloch East North and Twecker councillor Pamela Marshall. Miss Callaghan said, "I was humbled to open George and Dorothy's fundraiser in memory of their son David, who sadly lost his life to a brain tumour. The event raised £1,000 for the brain tumour charity, taking their total to over £55,000. What a brilliant achievement. I wish them all the very best in reaching their fundraising targets." Miss Mackay added, "George and Dorothy are a remarkable couple, and there's no doubt David would be very proud of their bid to help all those suffering from this terrible condition. At least 88,000 children and adults are currently estimated to be living with a brain tumour in the UK. Just 12% of adults survive for 5 years after diagnosis, and brain tumours reduce life expectancy by an average of 27 years the highest of any cancer. Despite this, research into brain tumours accounts for just 3% of the money spent each year on cancer research in the UK. To make a donation and to learn more about David and the Brain Tumour Charity, visit www.thebraintumour-charity.org.
Jordan becomes North Lanarkshire Council leader. North Lanarkshire Council has elected councillors to its most senior positions after the SNP formed a minority administration. Councillor Jordan London, Bells Hill, is the new leader of the council, while Tracy Carragher, Coatbridge South, will serve as his deputy. Councillor Agnes McGowan, Motherwell South East and Ravenscraig, was elected as provost, and Councillor Anne Thomas, Motherwell North, is deputy provost. Councillor Linden said, "It's a privilege to be elected as leader of the council. The administration I will lead is determined to deliver on our manifesto commitments. In doing so, we will increase opportunities for people and businesses across all the communities we serve. We will increase the engagement we have with people, including in all the big decisions which affect their lives. We will take a fairer, more inclusive approach to decision making, strengthening relationships with people across North Lanarkshire." Cycling Pathways Success for Jigsaw Youngsters. Report by Brian Newell. Young people in North Lanarkshire are pedalling their way to additional qualifications by developing their teaching and communication skills as they help preschool children learn to cycle. The Foundation Apprenticeship Scheme is giving more than 40 young people the opportunity to undertake their play and pedals training at Jigsaw Family Learning Centre in Muirhead. This will qualify them to teach preschool children about the parts of a bike, how to fit a helmet correctly, and the basics of looking after bikes. The aim for the programme is to progress children from a balance bike to the pedal bike without the use of stabilisers through a series of fun activities which improve balance and control. Play and pedals training has strong links to the curriculum for excellence and boosts pupils' confidence while providing transferable skills which can be used towards their future careers. Lindsay Kane, Vocational Education Coordinator with North Lanarkshire Council, said, "We are delighted with the enthusiasm which the young people have shown, and our preschool children have really enjoyed working with them. The fun that comes with cycling is something these youngsters will remember their whole lives." This exciting apprenticeship programme gives our pupils the chance to work in a fun teaching environment and will hopefully inspire some of them to consider teaching and working with other young people and early years environments as possible future career options. This initiative builds on the Council's workforce for the future strategy and is directly linked to Skills Development Scotland, SDS, Regional Skills Assessment and Scottish Government Future Skills Action Plan, providing clear career pathways for our learners who are entering the dynamic and changing world of work. Workforce for the Future is focused on creating a better quality of life for those who live, learn and work in North Lanarkshire. Central to this ambition is the ability of employees, residents and young people to access fair, high quality work which offers in-work career progression and the opportunity to gain new skills and qualifications. And that was a report by Brian Newell.
St Rollox is Category B. Historic Environment Scotland HES has announced the former St Rollox Locomotive Works in Springburn has been listed as Category B in recognition of its special architectural and historic interest. St Rollox Works is significant as a rare surviving example of a late 19th century locomotive works in Scotland and the only surviving example in Springburn, which was once a global centre of locomotive construction. Built largely in 1882, St Rollox Works was the largest and longest operational locomotive manufacture and repair works in Scotland. It was established and constructed in the Springburn district of Glasgow by the Caledonian Railway Company as its principal locomotive construction and repair works. The St Rollox Works were remodelled between 1882 and 1887 in response to Caledonians' need for much larger works as the rail network rapidly expanded across the country and advances in locomotive engineering, distribution and export were made. The Caledonian Railway Company was subsumed by the London, Midland and Scottish Railway Company in 1923. Locomotive engine manufacture largely ceased at St Rollox by 1928, although the works and its staff remained heavily involved in railway vehicle repair and maintenance. At the time of the nationalisation of the railways in 1948, the St Rollox works continued to employ more than 3,300 workers. The former St Rollox works were retained in public ownership and continued to operate in service to the railway industry until 2019, when the works were closed and sold to a private owner last year. The designation of St Rollox Works follows a consultation where members of the public were invited to share their views on the special historic and architectural significance of the building. Dara Parsons, head of designations at HES, said, "The former St Rollox Works is a significant piece of Scotland's industrial and transport heritage and a worthy addition to the list of Scotland's special buildings. It made an important contribution to railway history and to Spingburn's role as a major centre for rail manufacture and repair in the 19th and 20th centuries."
Queen Elizabeth Platinum Jubilee 1952 to 2022. Grateful Nation celebrates 70 years of service. It is a milestone like no other, as, on February the 6th this year, Queen Elizabeth II became the first British monarch to celebrate a Platinum Jubilee. To mark this unprecedented anniversary, events and initiatives have taken place throughout the year and will culminate in a 4-day UK bank holiday celebration weekend from Thursday, June the 2nd to Sunday, June the 5th. The special extended bank holiday weekend will provide an opportunity for communities and people throughout the United Kingdom to come together to celebrate the historic milestone. The 4 days of celebrations will include public events and community activities, as well as national moments of reflection on the Queen's 70 years of service. The Queen's birthday parade, Trooping the Colour. There will be more than 1,400 parading soldiers, 200 horses and 400 musicians who will come together in a traditional parade to mark the Queen's official birthday, usually held on the second Saturday in June. Beginning at Buckingham Palace, the parade will move down the Mall to Horse and Guards Parade, joined by members of the royal family on horseback and in carriages. The parade will close with the traditional RAF flypast, watched by the Queen and members of the royal family from the Buckingham Palace balcony. Service of Thanksgiving. A service of Thanksgiving for the Queen's reign will be held at St Paul's Cathedral on Friday, June the 3rd. Platinum Jubilee Beacons. The United Kingdom's long tradition of celebrating royal jubilees, weddings and coronations with the lighting of beacons will continue for the Platinum Jubilee. A beacon chain, once used as a tool for communication, has now become a symbol of unity across towns, borders, countries and continents, and is often the central point of focus for any outdoor gathering or celebration. In 1897, beacons were lit to celebrate Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee. In 1977, 2002 and 2012, beacons commemorated the Silver, Golden and Diamond Jubilees of the Queen, and in 2016 Her Majesty's 90th birthday. There are 3 kinds of beacon events. Community beacons. Thousands of beacons will be lit by communities, charities and different groups throughout the regions of the UK, Channel Islands, Isle of Man and UK overseas territories. Commonwealth beacons. Beacons will be lit in all capital cities of the Commonwealth, 54 in total. Principal beacon, to be lit on the 2nd of June in a special ceremony at Buckingham Palace. Find out more by visiting www.queensjubileebeacons.com website. Queen Elizabeth Platinum Jubilee 1952 to 2022. Parties and a day at the races. Celebration for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee Spectacular will carry on into Saturday and Sunday, June the 4th and 5th. It will allow the nation to come together to celebrate the 70 years of the most beloved monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. On Saturday, the Derby at Epsom Downs will take place with Her Majesty the Queen, accompanied by members of the royal family, in attendance at Epsom Downs. Platinum Party at the Palace, the BBC, will stage and broadcast a special live concert from Buckingham Palace that will bring together some of the world's biggest entertainers to celebrate the most significant moments from the Queen's 7-decade reign. Find out more by visiting www.platinum.co.uk. platinumjubilee.gov.uk website. Tickets will be allocated via a ballot, now closed, with the remaining tickets being made available to charitable organisations, including those who work in support of young people, the military, the environment, and those who supported communities during the pandemic. On Sunday, it will be the Big Jubilee Lunch. Every year since 2009, the lunch has encouraged communities to celebrate their connections and get to know each other a little bit better. In 2022, the Big Lunch will bring the Jubilee celebrations into the heart of every community. People are invited to share friendship, food and fun with neighbours as part of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. A Big Jubilee Lunch can be big or small, street party or picnic, tea and cake or garden barbecue. The Big Lunch provides tips and ideas for hosting an event. More than 1,004 people have registered to host Big Jubilee Lunches so far, with events being planned across the country. The Platinum Jubilee pageant, artistic performers, dancers, musicians, military personnel, key workers and volunteers will unite to tell the story of the Queen's 70-year reign in an awe-inspiring festival of creativity. The London-based pageant will combine pomp and ceremony, street arts, theatre, music, circus, costumes, as well as cutting-edge visual technology, drawing on talent from every part of the United Kingdom and across the Commonwealth. Forming an important part of the Platinum pageant, the River of Hope section will comprise of 200 silk flags which will go down the mall, appearing like a moving river. Primary and secondary school children are invited to create a picture of their hopes and aspirations for the planet over the next 70 years. A selection of these creations will be transferred onto silk flags, which will be carried by secondary school pupils in the pageant. The artwork for the flags will be focused on climate change and incorporate the children's messages for the future. Teachers from applying schools will be provided with step-by-step guides to creating a beautiful digital artwork with their students, of which 200 will be selected for the flags. The selected artwork will also be shown up and down the country on screens as part of the Jubilee celebrations. For more information and to register your school's interest to take part, visit riverofhope.co.uk website. Cancer charity can help with cost of living. Report by Brian Yule. Last year, Macmillan Cancer Support provided over £16,000 in grants to 42 cancer patients in East Bartonshire to help pay for essentials, ranging from gas and electric bills to transport for hospital appointments. With the cost of living on the rise, the charity is bracing itself for a flood of people looking for support, but is still urging anyone in need to reach out. Across Scotland, Macmillan gave out around £1.5 million in grants to almost 4,000 people to help them pay for basic necessities. Janice Preston, Head of Partnerships for Macmillan Cancer Support, said, "I don't think we've even touched the surface of how catastrophic the impact the increase in living costs is going to be on people facing a life-threatening illness. It shouldn't be like this with a cancer diagnosis, and we want to make sure people with cancer know Macmillan is here for them, whatever it takes." Linda Brown's husband was recently diagnosed with liver cancer. The couple are from East Bartonshire. She said, "I feel like there is someone there to listen and support my husband and I through the cancer journey." Macmillan has provided us with the necessary support and helped us greatly. The grant has enabled us to have a new shower installed, which will make showering a lot easier for both of us, as well as improving our living conditions. I am delighted with the support given and thank everyone for their assistance. Fiona Moody, a welfare rights officer for Eastern Bartonshire Council Citizens Advice Bureau, added, "Lower income cancer patients are already feeling the pressure of higher bills and expenses due to a diagnosis, but they're now under even more stress to cover living costs. We're here to take away that worry and anxiety and to make everything a bit easier for people. We're here to find out what their needs are and discuss how we can support them throughout their cancer journey. I see the difference that a Macmillan grant can make to someone's life every day." Following a cancer diagnosis, many people can apply for a one-off, means-tested grant. For more information, call Eastern Bartonshire Citizens Advice Bureau on 0141 775 3220 or the Macmillan support line on 0808 808 0000. That's 0808 808 0000.
£8,000 for Ukraine. Holy Trinity Primary in Kirkintilloch has raised more than £8,000 for SCIAF's Ukraine emergency appeal. In March, the pupils took part in a sponsored Walk to Ukraine to raise money for those affected by the Russian invasion on Ukraine and the ongoing war. Over the course of a week, each class walked 1 mile per day around the school grounds to help reach the combined 1,500-mile target, the approximate distance from Glasgow to Lviv. A number of other activities also contributed to the final total. Laura Hamilton, acting principal teacher, said, quote, "We have worked extremely hard to support the SCIAF Ukraine appeal with a total of £8,005.78 raised by our generous families and local community. This money will go towards supporting Ukrainians, both in Ukraine and in neighbouring countries." End quote.
Health Board changes its COVID restrictions. Report by Brian Yule. The national picture, including Scottish Government guidance for how we live with COVID-19, has changed in recent weeks. This, coupled with the continued downward trend in hospitalisations, has enabled NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, NHS GGC, to review and enact changes in the way in which it operates. While we're not in a position to completely remove all COVID-related restrictions from health and social care settings, in the coming weeks, the Health Board will begin to take further steps to return to pre-pandemic ways of working. NHS GGC has now removed the requirement for physical or social distancing across its sites. In some cases, where buildings or services cannot make these adjustments, for example if there remains a requirement in the department or clinical service, for instance residential care or care homes, this will be communicated using the appropriate signage. Hospital waiting will be further reinstated at all sites, adopting person-centred visiting for all patients, with a maximum of 2 interchangeable visitors at any one time, wherever possible. The only exception to this will be in relation to high-risk patients or patient cohorts who are on wards with a current active COVID outbreak. The requirement to wear a face mask or a face covering when entering or moving around public or clinical areas of NHS GGC buildings will remain. The Health Board will also strongly recommended that when members of the public visit any of its sites, that they wear a face covering unless they're exempt. Commenting on the operational challenges, Director of Human Resources and Organisational Development, Anne McPherson, said, "We would like to thank all our staff for their ongoing commitment to their colleagues and patients throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. We hope that these changes will be a positive step to support our staff in their day-to-day practice. Our staff and patient safety remains a priority, which is why, although physical distancing will ease, we will continue to ask staff to wear appropriate face coverings while at work. Our primary aim is to make sure that all of our staff are well supported during this time of transition, and I am pleased that we have also been able to take steps towards enabling more of our staff to work flexibly throughout our blended working guidance." NHS GGC Deputy Nurse Director Jennifer Rogers added, "The decision to move to a person-centred visiting approach, wherever possible, across all of our hospitals has been taken due to the declining COVID-positive patients being treated across NHS GGC. Visits from friends and family are an essential part of the recovery process, so being able to allow greater flexibility for visits will be welcomed by staff and patients alike. It is really important to remember that we are still living with COVID in our local communities, which is why we are asking that all visitors continue to wear a face covering when visiting their loved ones in hospital, and if you do have COVID symptoms, please rearrange your visit. Our staff and patients are looking forward to welcoming more visitors to our hospitals." And that was a report by Brian Yule. Back to nature for final resting place. Many people are opting to go back to nature by selecting a green burial for when they die. The definition of a green burial is a little non-specific, but is generally a burial that takes place outside of a traditional cemetery or churchyard, says Director of Iska Funeral Services Limited, Michael Hull. Green burials can be in a woodland or wildflower meadow setting. They promote the use of natural materials such as biodegradable coffins or shrouds, often made locally, and the sites are managed to encourage wildflowers and native trees, as well as an abundance of wildlife. Be aware that the sites often have a very rustic look, with long grass and maybe even stinging nettles. Typically, headstones will not be permitted, but some sites allow a flat stone plaque to be set into the ground. A natural burial ground will often have a structure where a ceremony can be held at the time of the funeral, and this structure may be of a natural construction. Using embalming, which is a chemical treatment of the deceased, is prohibited. Who has one? Many people from all walks of life opt for a green burial. They are especially suitable for people who like all things natural, and to whom a rustic setting far from the ordered structure of a cemetery would have greater appeal, says Michael. The services are often led by a celebrant or family members, and are without the more traditional prayers and hymns of a traditional service. Having said this, many natural burial grounds also welcome a minister to lead a religious service. Key benefits. There are many benefits to a natural burial, says Michael. Often the burial site will hold only one service each day, and so there is no time pressure. A green burial can be very personal to the person who has died. Families may be likely actively involved in reading tributes, poems, singing songs, or playing music, whatever would that family have a personal goodbye. Unlike cremation, a burial gives physical place where loved ones can go to be with their loved ones, but remember, if you're opting for a green burial, the place is likely to be rustic without smooth paved paths. Why are they so popular? Funerals are changing, and many people are now opting for non-religious services without the pomp of a black hearse followed by a limousine going to a service led by a minister who has never met the deceased, says Michael. Green burials, as well as cremation, now give people the option to tailor their service to reflect the person who has died. People are now aware that a funeral can be more individual and bespoke, and because of this, more people are now opting for green burials. Price and costing. The cost of a green burial can be very competitive when compared to cemetery burials and even cremations, which has been perceived as cheaper than burials, said Michael. The cost will of course vary depending on your requirements, but this can be very thriftily if needed, with families leaving a service followed by a picnic for the people gathered, or you can push the boat out with live music bands and outside caterers. The control of cost should be in your own hands. Finding out more. You can find out more about natural burial grounds from the Natural Death Centre, www.naturaldeath.org.uk, or the Good Funeral Guide, www.goodfuneralguide. Find out about fallen war heroes on your doorstep. Report by Julie Curry. Former Scottish SAS soldier Colin McLaughlin launched War Graves Week in Scotland. Running from May the 21st to the 28th, the initiative by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, CWGC, aims to help Scots discover the World War history on their doorstep. Colin is encouraging Scots to learn about the incredible stories of those commemorated by the CWGC and the skills, dedication and expertise of its staff and volunteers who work to keep their memories alive. The Commission commemorates 1.7 million men and women of the Commonwealth who died during the World Wars, including 136 soldiers from Colin's former regiment, the Special Air Service. He said, "It is an honour to be able to show my support for War Graves Week and to help raise awareness of those who gave their life for their country in the First and Second World Wars. I've just visited South Queensferry Cemetery to learn about the stories of the 180 burials from the First World War and a further 8 burials from the Second World War. One grave I visited was that of Martin Tierney, who fought with the Royal Scots, my first regiment, during the First World War. It's crucial that the stories of these ordinary men and women, called to action in such extraordinary times, are remembered. This mission is what the Commonwealth War Graves Commission does best, and I would urge everybody to join a CWGC tour at your local cemetery to learn more about these brave people and how they connect with our lives today. People can read about the remarkable stories of the men and women of the Commonwealth who died in the First and Second World Wars and are buried in their communities by joining one of the many war cemetery tours taking place, or by visiting pop-up events on the high streets around the nation. A full list of events can be found at www.cwgc.org/our-war-graves-week. Ordinary People, Extraordinary Times is the focus of this year's War Graves Week, celebrating the value of those who served in the world wars brought to key sectors such as healthcare and logistics, and the parallels with today's global Britain, which they helped to create. To find out more, visit www.cwgc.org. And that was a report by Julie Curry. Opinion. This week's letters page, Let's Talk. Please send your letters via email to kirkyherald@jnscotland.co.uk. Apocalyptic union the SNP must extract us from. Sir, the Bank of England is increasing interest rates to quash inflation. It won't work. Inflation isn't caused by excess consumer demand, but by the UK's mismanagement of COVID and a self-inflicted Brexit, exacerbated by war and global warming. Data from the Office of National Statistics shows that real wages have fallen while food and energy prices have risen, making people poorer. The costs of producing food and energy haven't risen, so price rises are being driven by speculative profit taking in the face of the external shocks of Brexit, COVID and war. The wealthy will survive these shocks and also benefit from higher interest rates, while the majority will suffer. Raising interest rates won't cure the inflation disease and risk killing the patient. Instead, the UK government should act. It should restore benefit cuts, cancel the national insurance increase, tax the energy companies and banks, which are profiteering, cut VAT and fuel, increase wealth taxes, and realign trade rules with the UK to cut the huge costs of Brexit. In addition, it should protect the vulnerable from COVID by ensuring workplace safety and pay for tests to relieve labour shortages. If the government fails to act, poverty and inequality will soar, public service will suffer through another round of austerity, people will die, and the likelihood of recession and civil unrest will increase. The SNP leadership must urgently extract Scotland from this apocalyptic union. It is the only way that Scotland can have a fairer, more prosperous and hopeful future. Yours, etc., Leah Gunn Barrett, by email. Ferguson ferry scandal needs to be transparent, not secret. Sir, politicians like Nicola Sturgeon need to bear a few facts in mind. They are employed by us, the electorate, to do a certain job. We need to be kept fully informed about their actions so we know whether they're carrying out to our satisfaction. If they tell us that it is not in our interest to know what they have been up to, then we need to be suspicious. If an employee told their employer what they were doing had to be kept secret, they would be promptly dismissed. The Ferguson Marine Ferry scandal requires full transparency. Anything less than that suggests the SNP government has something to hide and is unfit for purpose. Yours, etc., Helen Hughes, via email. Exam stress. Childline is always here to offer help. Sir, this academic year has seen the return of national exams and hires in Scotland after a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic. For many children and their parents and carers, the exam period can be an anxious and stressful time. A return to normality in September has seen Childline provide more support to anxious students at the end of year tests loomed on the horizon. In the year between April 2021 and March 2022, Childline practitioners delivered 1,734 counselling sessions to children and young people across Scotland and the rest of the United Kingdom, with concerns about exam stress and revision, which is a 62% rise in the previous year. When talking to childline counsellors about upcoming events this month, children shared that their worries were affecting their mental health, anxiety levels and ability to sleep. It is important for young people to know that they aren't alone if they're feeling like this. Instead, that they're encouraged to share any concerns or worries with their friends or a trusted adult. Parents and carers can help by reassuring their child that they're there to listen to what they might be feeling and to help them take the time to think about what to do next. There are lots of places young people can get support, including the Childline website, where they can get advice on dealing with exam stress, visit our messaging boards, or even use an art box to draw through what they want to happen and look at potential next steps. Childline is here for every child and young person, and our specially trained counsellors are also ready 24/7 to discuss exam worries and other concerns, free on 0800 1111, that's 0800 1111, or www.childline.org.uk. Yours, etc., the Childline team. Have a say on our third national park. Report by Julie Curry. It's almost 20 years since Scotland's first national parks in Loch Lomond and Trossachs and Cairngorms were established. The current programme for government contains a commitment to establish at least one new national park in Scotland by spring 2026. Communities, groups and individuals are now being invited to share their views in a consultation on its creation. Biodiversity Minister Lorna Slater said, "It is almost 2 decades since Scotland's first national parks were established. Both are home to some of the country's most outstanding scenery, are internationally important areas for nature, and receive millions of visitors each year. They work hard to tackle the biodiversity and climate crises, help manage the facilities for visitors, promote responsible access, and develop sustainable communities. They have become jewels in Scotland's crown, and now is the time to add to them. We want to gauge what people want their national parks to deliver for the environment, culture, and the communities within their boundaries. I would strongly encourage everyone to take part and ensure your views are heard and reflected in the shaping of this historic expansion of Scotland's national parks. The move has been welcomed by the Scottish Campaign for National Parks, SCNP, and the Association for the Protection of Rural Scotland, APRS, which have led the campaign for more national parks in Scotland. They are encouraging everyone with an interest to respond to the initial government consultation at www.ideas.gov.scot by the deadline of 5 p.m. on June the 6th. John Mayhew, APR's director, said, "Our national parks are good ways for Scotland in so many ways. They look after our finest landscapes, they tackle the climate emergency and the nature crisis, and they provide a warm welcome to visitors seeking healthy outdoor exercise. That's why it is so exciting to see the debate about where our next national parks might be starting." 7 potential areas were suggested in 2013: Ben Nevis, Glencoe, Blackmount, Cheviots and Border Hills, Galloway, Coastal and Marine Park, Glenaffrey, Wester Ross and Harris. And that was a report by Julie Curry.
An app to help those who have long COVID. Healthcare Improvement Scotland has launched an app that people with long COVID can use to access the best available evidence for diagnosis and treatment. The app includes a symptom diary, which can be updated daily and downloaded to share with your GP. Healthcare Improvement Scotland worked with NICE and the RCGP to produce a UK clinical guideline for patients suffering from long COVID. The information in the app is based on its patient version of the long COVID guideline. It was produced in partnership with the Digital Health and Care Institute and the Right Decision Service. 2 versions of the app have been produced, one for clinicians and one for members of the public. It can be accessed via the Apple App Store and Google Play, as well as at www.sign.ac.uk/apps. It has been estimated that 60,000 Scots currently have long COVID, a condition healthcare professionals are still learning about. Many people who have had COVID-19 report ongoing symptoms that last more than 4 weeks. The condition can affect adults, children, and young people. Dr. David Blaine of the Institute of Health and Wellbeing at Glasgow University helped develop the guideline. He said, quote, "There are thousands of people with long COVID across Scotland, and many are not getting the healthcare support they need. This app, and the symptom diary in particular, should help people to monitor and discuss their symptoms with healthcare professionals, improving mutual understanding of their condition and hopefully improving that support." End quote.
Take a leaf out of Jean's book this year. Farmers still have time to take part in this year's Leaf Open Farm Sunday next month. Organised by Linking Environment and Farming, LEAF, it aims to get the nation talking about farming. Annabelle Shackleton, manager of Leaf Open Farm Sunday, said, "There is no denying the extraordinary impact speaking to the public about farming while actually on the farm can have. One farmer recently hosted a group of vegans who bought cuts of beef from the farm shop before they had left that afternoon. They said they were following a vegan diet for environmental reasons, but spending time in the farm made them think differently about it." Since it started in 2006, Leaf Open Farm Sunday has enthused millions of people. Jean Glennie, who grows Christmas trees on her arable farm in Aylin, hosted their first event last year and has signed up for this June too. She said, "We often spoke about getting involved, but always talked ourselves out of it. We were worried about being unprepared for members of the public and thinking there was nothing of interest to show. In 2021, we took the leap and signed up. It showed us that what is everyday to us is new and fascinating to them. It has not only allowed us to give back to the community, welcome them into our farm for a fun, free family day out, but it has given us the opportunity to tell the Christmas tree story. It's a unique crop, requiring specialist care 12 months of the year, something they may never think about. Any farm can take part in an Open Farm Sunday on any date in June. Register at www.farmsunday.org for a free listing and event handbook." £1 million fund for cycle events. Report by Julie Curry. Communities across Scotland are being given the chance to bid for funds to support sustainable cycling projects and events. The £1 million Community Cycling Fund is being delivered in partnership between Sport Scotland, Event Scotland and the 2023 UCI Cycling World Championships. It has been developed with the aim of creating a national celebration of cycling across all of Scotland's 32 local authority areas in the build-up to the championships next August, and to create a lasting benefit post-event. The investment is part of a campaign to focus on the benefits of cycling in 2023, as Glasgow and Scotland gear up to host the biggest cycling event ever staged anywhere in the world, by engaging new audiences to participate in organised and inclusive cycling activity and events. It will engage local communities by creating a platform to encourage cycling with a force on underrepresented groups, as well as adding value to existing cycling initiatives, programmes, events and infrastructure. Culture Minister Angus Robertson, who chairs the 2023 UCI World Championships Cabinet Group, said, "I would encourage communities up and down the country to take advantage of this 2-year fund to set up projects that will inspire more people to enjoy the power of the bike." The Community Cycling Fund is a 2-year programme funded by Sport Scotland and Event Scotland, made up of 2 separate funding opportunities. The development stand will be administered by Sport Scotland, with up to £350,000 per year invested directly to local authorities. The event strand, administered by Event Scotland, will award up to £160,000 per year for events and festivals through an open fund. Stuart Harris, Chief Executive of Sport Scotland, said, "The eyes of the world will be on Scotland in 2023, and we want to use that opportunity to encourage more people to enjoy the benefits of cycling." Event Scotland is accepting applications for £5,000 to £15,000 for events from August the 1st this year to March the 31st, 2023. Visit www.visitscotland.org/events/funding/community-cycling-fund by 5 p.m. Monday, June the 20th.
Two groups join Unforgotten Forces. Unforgotten Forces, the Partnership for Older Veterans, has welcomed two new organisations on board to expand its work with older members of the ex-service community. Soldiers, Sailors, Airmen and Families Association, SSAFA, the Armed Forces charity, and the Veterans Tribe Scotland are the latest additions to the Unforgotten Forces partnership, which is coordinated by Age Scotland. SSAFA offers practical and financial support to ex-armed forces men and women in need of physical or emotional care. Veterans Tribe offers creative and well-being events where ex-armed forces men and women and their families can build friendships. Frank Gribben, Unforgotten Forces coordinator, said, quote, "We aim to meet the breadth of well-being needs across the older ex-armed forces community. The addition of these partners will boost our ability to do so." End quote.
District News General. Benefits rollout. The rollout of newly devolved social security benefits is going well, but there is still a lot to be delivered, says the report by the Auditor General for Scotland. New and complex social security benefits, such as the Scottish Child Payment, have been launched despite the challenges of the pandemic. People are also positive about their experience of Social Security Scotland, but substantial risks remain, including delivering the remaining benefits by 2025, a large rise in the benefit cases administered by Social Security Scotland, and a doubling of the Social Security Scotland workforce within the next year to deal with growing administration needs. The Scottish Government currently estimates that the full package of devolved benefits will cost around £685 million to put in place. Benefit spending in Scotland is also forecast to be £760 million higher per year by 2026-27 than the related sum received in the block grant adjustment from the UK Government. For example, the adult disability payment is expected to cost £527 million more than the UK benefit it replaces, the personal independence payment. Stephen Boyle, Auditor General for Scotland, said, "Successfully launching new benefits during the pandemic has been a significant achievement for the Scottish Government, but a lot of work remains. The Government now needs to plan how it will manage for a pay for greater social security spending alongside other policy initiatives. To demonstrate how it is achieving value for money, it also needs to be clearer about how this extra spending will improve the lives of people living in Scotland." Foster carers appeal. Children's Minister Claire Haughey is encouraging more people to consider fostering. Currently, around 500 additional foster families are required to provide stable and nurturing homes for children who cannot be looked after at home. Ms Haughey said, "Fostering is an amazing experience. I know this because I grew up in a family that fostered and fully appreciate the positive benefits of what a loving fostering environment can do to improve the lives of children and young people. All children are different, and we are looking for new foster carers from a variety of backgrounds and with different life experiences, skills and qualities to help meet the needs of our young people. I know that deciding to foster is a big step, and I am asking people to consider carefully whether they could provide the love and stability that some of our children and young people need." Ian Wilson, who, with wife Anita, has been a foster carer for 22 years, said, "Fostering is part of our lives and our birth children's lives. It's not always easy, but there are so many kids out there who need a home and an adult who will be there for them and commit to them." Visit the Fostering Network's website, www.thefosteringnetwork.org.uk/providers. Move for Meals Challenge. People across Scotland are being encouraged to make a move and help make Mary's Meals feed more hungry children around the world. The charity is calling on people to take part in the Move for Meals Challenge, which encourages participants to raise sponsorship whilst being active. Mary's Meals serves nutritional school meals to children living in some of the world's poorest countries. Morville McIlvenny, supporter for engagement manager at Mary's Meals, said, "It costs just £15.90 to feed a hungry child with Mary's Meals for an entire school year. It means that the smallest of steps will transform the lives of little ones in the poorest countries." Visit marysmeals.org.uk/move-for-meals. Westminster View. Families struggle but receive no help, by Amy Callaghan MP. We are experiencing the worst cost of living crisis for generations, devastating for households already struggling. Faced with this crisis, you might think the UK government would have used the Queen's speech to outline measures to ease this burden, but you would be wrong. What we saw instead was a complete lack of willingness from the UK government to support families, and indeed any measures at all to ease the burden of poverty. The sad reality is the UK government has made a political choice to perpetuate poverty across these islands. Because poverty is not a personal choice, no one chooses to struggle under the weight of the cost of living. It is a political choice. One politician make every time they raise lower taxes, fund or cut social security, empower or constrain the third sector. In the Chamber, I argued that a different legislative programme featuring even some of the Scottish Government's progressive policies would have resulted in a far bolder agenda for the year ahead. Policies like free prescriptions, free university tuition, free personal care for the over 65s, free bus travel for under 22s, the Scottish Child Payment, the Baby Box, the Young Carers Grant. But that hasn't happened, will never happen while we're tied to Westminster. Instead, from the UK government, we get the usual bluff and bluster, platitudes and politicking, while all the while families here struggle. It is a tale of two governments, one who helps those in need and one who blames those in need. Westminster's uncaring and out-of-touch approach forces the Scottish Government to step in. But devolution was not designed to mitigate, it was supposed to empower, democratise and bring government closer to the people of Scotland. In East Dunbartonshire alone, the Scottish Government spends £11.8 million each year to mitigate the worst of what Westminster throws at us. Just think what we could do with that money as an independent country. I will continue to call on the UK Government to do the right thing and support families in East Dunbartonshire and across the UK. And that was the Westminster View by Amy Callaghan MP.
Obituaries. Deaths. McKinnon Robert. Peacefully at Marie Curie Hospital, Glasgow, on Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Beloved husband of Elizabeth, much loved dad and papa. Funeral service at Glasgow Crematorium, Maryhill, on Thursday, May 26th at 12 noon. Family flowers only, please. Patrick Alistair. Peacefully after a short illness on May 12th, 2022, at Queen Elizabeth University Hospital. Beloved husband of Louise, much loved dad of David, Janice and Helen, and adored papa and great-granddad. Funeral service will take place on Friday, May 27th, 2022, at Hillhead Parish Church, Kirkintilloch, for 10:40 a.m, thereafter at Daldowie Crematorium for 11:45 a.m. Stuart Sandy. Peacefully after an illness on May 19th, 2022 at Glasgow Royal Infirmary. Beloved husband of the late Macy and much loved dad of Derek and Susan, and father-in-law of Janet. An adored papa of Callum, Edith, Lewis and Darren. Funeral services will take place on Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at Daldowie Crematorium for 10:30 a.m. Stirling. Helen (Ella). Sadly passed away on May 8th, 2022. Funeral to be held on May 25th at 10 a.m. at Co-op Funeral Care in Kirkintilloch. Burial at Old Isle Cemetery and after at the Rangers Club in Kirkintilloch. The family wish to thank the staff and the Royal Infirmary and East Dunbartonshire Home Care for genuine care and support they have gave her. Public notices. East Dunbartonshire Council public notices. The East Dunbartonshire Council, brackets A807 Torrance Road, Torrance, end brackets. Temporary no waiting at any time restrictions and 30 mph speed limit. Order 2022. On the 24th of May 2022, the East Dunbartonshire Council made the above-named order under Section 16A of the Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984 as amended, to be observed by vehicles from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. on Saturday, 4th of June 2022, for reasons of public safety and convenience. No waiting at any time restrictions. The above-named order makes it unlawful for any person to cause or permit any motor vehicle to wait at any time on either side of the A807 Torrance Road, Torrance, between its junctions with Torrance Roundabout and Kelvin Bridge Roundabout. 30 mph speed limit. The above-named order makes it unlawful for any person to cause or permit to be driven any motor vehicle at a speed exceeding 30 mph on the A807 Torrance Road, Torrance, between its junctions with Torrance Roundabout and Kelvin Bridge Roundabout. SGD, Karen Donnelly, Chief Solicitor and Monitoring Officer, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66, 1TJ. The East Dunbartonshire Council, A807 Torrance Road, Torrance, Temporary Prohibition of Right Turns, Order 2022. On the 24th of May 2022, the East Dunbartonshire Council made the above-named order under Section 16A of the Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984 as amended, to be observed by vehicles from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. on Saturday the 4th of June 2022 for reasons of public safety and convenience. Prohibition of right turns. 1. From the A807 Torrance Road, Torrance, into the private access to field at Bogton Farm, Torrance. Alternative route. Vehicles travelling on the A807 Torrance Road which cannot turn right into the access to the field at Bogton Farm should proceed north-westwards on the A807 Torrance Road, then proceed in a clockwise direction around Kelvin Bridge Roundabout, then turn left onto the A807 Torrance Road, then proceed south-east on the A807 Torrance Road, then turn left into the access to the field at Bogton Farm. For private access to field at Bogton Farm, Torrance, onto the A807 Torrance Road, Torrance. Alternative route. Vehicles leaving the access to the field at Bogton Farm, Torrance, should turn left onto the A807 Torrance Road, then proceed south-east on the A807 Torrance Road, then proceed in a clockwise direction around Torrance Roundabout, then turn left onto the A807 Torrance Road, then proceed northwest on the A807 Torrance Road. SGD, Karen Donnelly, Chief Solicitor and Monitoring Officer, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TJ. Civic Government Scotland Act 1982. Application for grant of second-hand vehicle dealer licence. The undernoted has applied for the grant of a second-hand vehicle dealer licence in terms of the above Act. Name and address of applicant: James Car Company, Canal Street, Kirkintilloch, G66 1QW. Day-to-day manager: James Carruthers, 32 Baldoran Drive, Milton of Campsie, G66 8FZ. Premises: James Car Company, Canal Street, Kirkintilloch, G66 1QW. Days and hours of trading: Monday to Friday, 9 AM to 6 PM, Saturday and Sunday, appointment only. Any objections or representations in terms of paragraph 3 brackets 1 of Schedule 1 of the Act should be logged with the undernoted no later than 28 days from the publication date of the newspaper in which this advertisement appears. Deputy Chief Executive, Education, People and Business, Eastern Bartonshire Council, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TJ. The Eastern Bartonshire Council, Lindsay Road, Kirkintilloch. No waiting and loading at any time restrictions, Order 2022. On the 23rd of May 2022, the Eastern Bartonshire Council made an order under Road Traffic Regulations Act 1984, which comes into operation on Monday, 11th of July 2022. The proposed order was advertised in the Kirkintilloch Herald that was published on the 14th of July 2021. The main effect of the order would be the introduction of no waiting and no loading at any time restrictions on Lindsay Road, Kirkintilloch from the extended south curb line of Civic Way, Kirkintilloch, southwards for a distance of 135 metres, or thereby to the extent north curb line of Gallow Hill Road, Kirkintilloch, and amend an existing order as required. A copy of the order and plans detailing the lengths of road affected may be examined without payment of fee in road section of the Eastern Bartonshire Council website. Any person wishing to question the validity of the order or any provision therein on grounds that the order is not within the powers conferred by the Road Traffic Regulations Act 1984, or on the grounds that any requirement of the Act or of any relevant regulation made thereunder has not been compiled with in the relation to the order may, within 6 weeks from 2023 May 2022, make application to the Court of Session for this purpose. Karen Donnelly, Chief Solicitor and Monitoring Officer, Executive Officer, Eastern Bartonshire Council Headquarters, 12 Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1TJ. Rosvale up for accolades. An article by Ian McLean. Rosvale women's team are hoping to end their first season in senior football by scooping an awards double. The Bishopbriggs club's achievement in coming so close to promotion in their debut campaign has earned them places on the shortlists for MG Alba SWF Awards. Star player Gemma McQuillan has been shortlisted for the SWF Championship South Player of the Year award. McQuillan played a key role for Vale in their debut campaign at senior level as they finished second to Gartcairn and just missed out on promotion to SWPL 2 after losing to East Fife in the playoffs. And Vale has also been nominated for the title of Championship Team of the Year, along with Montrose, East Fife, Dry Borough and Gartcairn. Petershill-based Glasgow City have a number of nominees up for accolades, including Priscilla Chinchilla, shortlisted for the SWPL Player of the Year award. The Costa Rica International is joined on the list of nominees by former City player Nicola Docherty, now with Rangers, her Ibrox teammate Lizzie Arton, and Celtic's Charlie Wellings. City's Claire Shine is a contender for the Kat Lindner Award for Outstanding Athletic and Academic Achievement. That award is named after the former Glasgow City player who died suddenly in 2019, and honours a player who has excelled both on and off the field. City's under-16s are nominated for the title of Youth Team of the Year, with Mia Scott a contender for Youth Player of the Year and Craig Edwards shortlisted for the Volunteer of the Year accolade. The winners will be revealed in a ceremony at Glasgow's Hilton Hotel on June 4th. Meanwhile, City forward Lauren Davidson has signed a 2-year contract extension. Davidson, a product of the club's academy, rejoined in the summer of 2020 after spells at Rangers and Hibernian. She is the club's second top goalscorer this season, with 22 goals, including a hat-trick in the SWPL Cup quarter-finals against Partick Thistle. The forward has made 59 appearances in all competitions for City, who face Celtic this Sunday at Tynecastle in the SWPL Cup final. Davidson said, "I'm delighted to sign a 2-year extension with the club. The direction the club are going in excites me, and I'm looking forward to what's to come next." Head coach Eileen Gleeson commented, quote, "I'm delighted Lauren has chosen to extend her time with Glasgow City. Lauren is an exciting young player who understands what it means to be a Glasgow City player. I look forward to continued opportunity to work with Lauren and watch her develop and reach her potential." Lindsay. A total of 15 local primary school teams will converge on Lindsay Academy's Astro Pitch on Thursday, May 26th to compete for the Jim McNairn Trophy. The Sevens competition will start at 1 p.m. and finish around 3:45 p.m, with each competitor gaining a Jim McNairn medal. The present holders are Holy Family School, and they will be hoping to retain the trophy. However, they will meet strong competition from strong squads from Lindsay Meadow, St Helens and Lairdsland. Rob Roy. Kirkintilloch Rob Roy went down 2-1 at home to Largs Thistle in the final WOSFL Premier Division game of the season at Duncan's Field Park on Saturday. Despite the defeat, Rob Roy will finish in the top half of the table in 9th place in the 20-team league. Rab's boss, Stuart Maxwell, is already looking ahead to next season and has made 2 new signings. Striker Connor Hughes, who left Rabs in 2019 to join St Roch's, has agreed a deal to return to the club, and former Airdrie and Cumbernauld Colts midfielder Jamie Barclay has also signed. Lindsay trio in athletics action at top event. Former Lindsay Academy pupil Brodie Young, Scott Connell and Courtney Maguire were all in action after earning call-ups from last weekend's Loughborough International. Young from Christon finished 4th in the 400 metres in a time of 47.30 seconds. The 19-year-old also ran for Great Britain Juniors in the 4x400 metre relay. Last year, Young was part of the Great Britain team and won relay gold at the Sports European Junior Championships in Tallinn. Last month, the Airdrie Harrier set a new personal best of 46.76 when winning a race at the Pure Athletics Spring Invitational in Florida. Connell, who competes for Kilbarchan AAC, was also in Loughborough as part of the Scotland team and finished 8th in the 110 metre hurdles in 14.59 seconds. Edinburgh Athletics Club pole vaulter Maguire from Milton of Campsie cleared a season best height of 3.95 metres to finish in 8th place. Tigers look to make up a draw with Poole. Cammy Brown is urging his Glasgow Tigers side to pick up points on the road to make up for the disappointment of drawing at home to Pole in last week's Speedway GB Championship clash. The Tigers boss saw his side race out a 45-45 draw at the Peugeot Ashfield Stadium on Friday, as 2 of the title favourites went head-to-head. Tigers fought back late in the meeting to overturn a 6-point deficit and ensured they took a point from the tie and the Pirates took 2. The result kept Glasgow second in the SGB Championship, 3 points behind Leicester with 2 meetings in hand. They now face Berwick Bandits away next Saturday in a push for the playoffs. Boss Brown said, quote, "We are disappointed. At one point we had a chance to take all 3 points. We made a few mistakes. We got past on the line a couple of times. It's not like us. The track was different from the start at the meeting towards the end, and Pole got quick control of the conditions a bit quicker than us. When the track settled down, I thought we were a bit better, but then Pole got 2 5-1s, and everyone in the stadium would have bitten your hand off for a draw then, so we did well to come back. Pole are a very good team, and some of our riders were a bit below par, but it's a long season and at least we didn't lose. We just need to pick up some away points now to make up for that." End quote. Tigers scorers: Craig Crook, 10 plus 1. Benjamin Basso, 7. Brock Nickel, 7. Connor Bailey, 6 plus 2. Danyon Hume, 5 plus 2. Justin Sedgman, 5 plus 1. Ulster Ostergaard, 5 plus 1.
Thank you for listening to this week's Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, brought to you by Q Review Print Speaking to the Blind. If you've any feedback, you're welcome to call us on 0141 772 3976. If you enjoyed this recording, feel free to subscribe to our channel.